most humans, we love you very much, but if there is something that you do often that we would prefer you not do so often for your own good, it is that you examine what is with such fervor that you slow down what you've asked for and you don't let it come. Your awareness of what is mostly what's active in your vibration. So you either got to be a really good sifter where you're just looking for things to appreciate in what is, or you've got to be a better visualizer so that you're imagining more of what you want, or a really good meditator where you quiet your mind to deactivate, but you have to do something to slow that momentum. Because law of attraction is going to keep it going. Your vibration is where you last left it on every subject, you see. So unless you decide to do something different with it, it's going to carry on. When you get tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and the way you do that is by thinking about why you're doing what you're doing. When you think about how it's going to unfold, or who's going to be there, or the details that you don't yet have the answers to, that usually makes you feel uncomfortable. That's really a strong source of anxiety, because those are questions that you don't really know the answers, and so you feel insecure in that. But when you think about what you want and why you want it, why are you doing this? If you've been listening to us for a while, you've been hearing us say that when you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, that all things go more powerfully the way you want them. You've been hearing us say that one who's connected to the stream or to the flow, or one who is in alignment with who you really are, is more powerful than millions who are not. And what we're really talking about is you finding somehow, some way to line up more and more and more with that core grid that beams up through you, that grid of love and well-being and prosperity and vitality and energy. And it's when you feel frisky. It's when you feel alive. It's when you feel your passion. It's when you are full of who you are. It's when you are tuned in to the vibrational, expanded most beingness of that which you are. So you got to ask, well, if I was all of that before I came, tell me again, why did I agree to come into this body and expose myself to this? You call it variety, Abraham. You call it contrast. I call it the good, the bad, and the ugly. In other words, tell me again, did I really agree to come into this environment? We say, yes, you did, because you knew that in the exploration of the contrast that you could come to eternal, never-ended new perspectives of value, perspectives of goodness, perspectives of advancement, perspectives of expansion. You know that you are an eternal being, and you wanted the exposure to the variety that would help you and all of us to expand. For a while we said, you gotta get in the vortex, you gotta get in the vortex. You just gotta bring yourself up to speed and the vortex will bring you in. And that is really the way that it is. But it might be easier for you to understand that the preparation is yours to make. In other words, you gotta chill out. You gotta stop beating the drum of what's missing, or it will continue to be missing. Because the whole time you're beating the drum of, I don't have enough money, or my lover hasn't come yet, or I don't have this, or this opportunity isn't presenting itself to me. I feel that I'm on the verge, but it doesn't quite ever come home to me. As long as you're beating the drum like that, you're holding yourself in vibrational opposition to the very things that you're asking for. So you and what you want are not showing up at the same place at the same time. One of the things that our physical friends most often misunderstand is that you are the leading edge of all that we are. You are the leading edge out here exploring pioneers, exploring variety, and coming to powerful, important new conclusions. But what goes wrong for you from your perspective is that often life causes you to know that you want something. You want more love in the world. You want more well-being. You want all of the children to be eating. You want the world to be a better feeling place for not just you, but more people. You want that. But you focus upon the opposite of that. It's like the contrast helps you to expand, but you don't go with the expansion because you feel obligated to tell it like it is, to focus upon the what is, to be real, to be accurate, to tell the truth of things. And we want you to understand that there is a truth that you can reach for that is always wrapped around well-being. That when you begin reaching for that, the universe will reflect back to you. Our new way of saying it is your grid will fill in with the evidence of whatever truth it is that you've decided to make your pattern of thought, your habit of thought. So what so many of our human friends do not understand is that you're out here on the leading edge and you're carving it out and you're asking for the new expansion. And when you do, we all go right to it. We experience the ecstasy of the new creation that you have carved out. And then, and this is the most important part for you, we hold steady to that vibration of that expansion, offering a signal that is so strong and so steady that when you get somewhere in the vicinity of it, you're going to feel your relationship with it. You're going to feel your relationship with that signal. If you feel awful, you understand your relationship with the signal. It's beaming one vibration, you're beaming another. It's pure positive energy, you're not. And what we really want you to hear is that nothing ever happens that is a vibrational mismatch to what's going on. So the discordant part of it is a misunderstanding of what really was going on vibrationally. Let's start in this place. Sometimes you don't really know that you want something until you really know that you don't want something.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes you don't really know that you don't want something until you really know that you want something. Mm-hmm. And so attention to what you want. Sometimes you're picking up that stick thinking that you're giving your attention to what you do want without realizing that you're pushing against what you do not want. We don't want to get too heavy into this. You said it's a heavy subject because this is one of the reasons that we moved from calling this gathering the art of allowing rather than the science of deliberate creation. Because as you get so specifically focused, as you try to contemplate every single thought that you're thinking and put it into some sort of category about whether I thought it more than others. Mm-hmm. We just want you to understand that nothing manifests that is out of vibrational whack with what you've got going on. This analogy that we're going to offer you here is going to answer your question completely. You may have heard us say that what manifests is always a vibrational match to what you're thinking and feeling. It always is. And then we take it further, and it's easy for you to understand this, that what manifests in your dream state, what you're dreaming about, is also a manifestation of what you're thinking and what you're feeling. But we want you to focus for just a little bit that your dream and your real life experience, but it's easier to hear it about the dream. Your dream is showing you a perfect representation of the essence of what you've got going on vibrationally. But the details fill in with what you've been thinking about recently. Sometimes people say, oh, I had this dream and it was weird because it was people I didn't really know, or it was about this specific thing that I saw that on television the other day, or oh yeah, I saw that in a magazine the other day. So you're filling in the details with stuff that's still active within you. But the happening within it and the way the dream caused you to feel is the true meat and substance of the creation, as is what's manifesting. And so the details of it, they're just the filler.
Okay.
I say. It's sort of like the plot to the movie is the plot. Right. And then they put all that other stuff in just to make you feel like you got your money's worth with all the action scenes. So we want to call your attention to your point of attraction. We could even say to your point of allowance. And we want to pose the question to you. We've not stated it to you before in this way. What do I need to do standing in my physical body to allow all of this vibrational reality that apparently, Abraham says, I've been creating for a long time. It's where all the things I want exist. What do I have to do so that those wanted things can come to me in tangible, manifested form? I appreciate, Abraham, you're telling me that they're there. But until I can see them and hear them and smell them and taste them and touch them, I'm not that excited about them. So what do I have to do so that I get the reality that I'm seeking? And we say, you have to prepare yourself vibrationally. You have to stop feeling the absence of it more than the presence of it, or the presence of it can't come. You have to find a way to stop beating the drum of the absence of it, which in simple terms means you got to stop being so specific about what isn't coming and more general about why you want it. And if you'll train yourself into that less specific opposing vibration, then it will come. Does that make sense to you? One of the primary reasons that we've been so delighted with analogies that we offer, like the vortex, and now like the grid, is because it helps you to understand the law basis behind everything that you're experiencing in a way that can begin to help it make more sense for you. So a lot of people, rather than trying to figure out the vibrational basis of things, are more aware of what they are offering in terms of action or behavior. And that's what you're doing here. Rather than so much in terms of the way you feel, and we'll guide you a little bit in that here in a minute. You're talking about, I did this, and then 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 I did this. And once I did this, then this happened. And once I did this, then this happened. And what we want you to start thinking about a little bit more, we've been saying to a lot of people on a lot of topics, is don't try to fill your grid in. Don't stand in the absence of something that you want. You're trying to figure out, well, I should be doing this. I shouldn't be disinterested in sex. That's not normal for a sexual being like myself, and for someone who has had such pleasure from it. That's not normal for me. And yet I'm not called to it, because that's the best thing about a discussion about sexuality. Napoleon Hill wrote a chapter in a book years ago called Sexual Transmutation in his Think and Grow Rich book. And the reason that he took the subject of sexuality as such a key piece in his book is because that was a subject that he knew that most people understood what that sexual calling is. In other words, it's something that when it calls, all logic goes out the window. Nothing else makes any difference. In other words, you can legislate it. You can chop people's heads off for it. Teenagers are still going to be back in their cars having sex. And the reason is because the calling is a very, very strong calling. And we want to put into the context of it's the grid filling in. In other words, lots that you put into your vortex when you get up to speed with it. And we're not saying that every sexual experience is the grid filling in. But when it's really good sex, it is the grid filling in. When you're really feeling strong about it. And so really what this conversation is more about is that you had other things that were more active in your vibration that the grid was filling in about. And so there isn't anything out of alignment in the fact that your grid is filling in one area of your life and maybe not in another. You see what we're getting at? So then you go along and you were consumed by your discomfort while you were working there in Wall Street. And then you felt the calling to do something else. You really didn't even know what you were going to do. You just knew it wasn't going to be that. And then the ideas kept coming as you came more in alignment with who you are. The ideas kept coming. And as you get more in alignment with who you are, the sexual calling always comes stronger when you're more in alignment with who you are. Just don't be so ready to fill the grid in. Let the grid fill in. Stay focused upon the things that are exciting you, and know that, again, you've put enough in your grid relative to sexuality to keep yourself busy for 20 or 30 lifetimes. You don't need to worry about having to keep that actively alive. It's in your vortex. And when the timing is right, you see, this is the thing that's most significant. You've put all kinds of things as you've had interaction with different people, conversations, even things that don't have anything to do with sexual interaction. You are defining who you are and who you like to be with and how you like it to feel. A sexual relationship is much more than the physical intertwining. It's about the intellect of the person. It's about the vibration of the person. It's about how this person is in relationship with their inner being. It is so much more complicated than just, I see you and you're the one that I'm choosing and now I'm going to find a way to have this experience with you. It's way more complicated than that. So we've been saying a lot recently that when you really hear us, and you have been, and you really get that your work is about the preparation of your grid, period, which means not pinpoint the specifics of the subjects that you want to live in specific detail, but find as much fun as you can find, and as much love as you can find, as much appreciation as you can find, and as much satisfaction as you can find, and as much comfort as you can find, and as much well-being as you can find. Reach for thoughts and behaviors that feel good to you. And as you come into